Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. And check out that eye, that's exactly what we want to see. Woo, look at that panel, baby. And that, as they say, is that. How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And join me today for my overview of the new Metal Hurlant. This is the anthology series magazine, and it's the relaunch by Humanoids. So, let's go ahead and take a look at this together. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to the kind folks at Humanoids for sending us an advance copy of this volume. This volume is going to be available everywhere on June 17th or 18th, depending on where you get your books. And what we're looking at here is the Kickstarter version, and then this is the retailer version. This is the one that's going to be available everywhere. This is the one that you all helped kickstart, and they were kind enough to send me both copies. So I assume the Kickstarter came with this really cool Moebius comic, but it's not just a Moebius comic because it's a two-sided poster, really, with the cover by, of course, Moebius right here, that this video cannot even do it. Can you imagine, like, reading this, like, Moebius? Oh my gosh, that's so cool. There's also a little pin right here that I assume the Kickstarter included. But what we're going to focus on today is this right here, because this is the thing that's going to be available everywhere. And what this is Metal Hurlant. This is the new kickoff for the magazine anthology series. And if you're not familiar with Metal Hurlant, it's, oh my gosh, it's been 50 years. I think they celebrated 50 years in 2024. That's when they started the Kickstarter. And a lot of us think of heavy metal. The heavy metal magazine here in America was inspired by what they were doing over there in France. But there's a lot of differences. Let's look at the spines here. Metal Hurlant, Volume 1, Old Dreams, Young Visions. And then, of course, the backs of the books look a little bit different because this was the Kickstarter over here, and this over here is the one that's going to be available everywhere, explaining a little bit about the project for the 50th anniversary, and just when it's needed the most, Humanoids, Metal Hurlant returns triumphant. And look at all those names right here. That is so amazing that they're mixing old school with some new, I guess some new blood, if you will. Now, if you're not familiar with this is a magazine trim size. And the trim size of the paperback, by the way, just rest assured, is the same as the trim size of the hardcover. Hardcover, it just happens to be a hardcover, and it was exclusive to the Kickstarter. If you're not familiar with the trim sizes of these, they are bigger than that of a trade paperback. So this, for example, is a trade paperback. This is more like a magazine trim size. So if you've been getting things like the EC Library, good catch, Omar, like these right here from Dark Horse Comics, they've been making them. It's kind of like that trim size. I mean, each one varies a little bit because they were using, of course, different papers, stocks, and there we go. So it's kind of like that. These are a little bit taller than the Metal Hurlant here. Or if you've been getting any of these Black Label line books, it's almost like that. Like the magazine trim size Black Label books. Kind of gives you an idea. Those are, of course, a little bit taller. Again, every one of these varying in sizes. But it's so cool to have this anthology magazine back. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to open this up and show off this beautiful artwork and talk about some of the stories found in here and articles that you're going to find in here. And just to play it safe, these are mature stories. As a matter of fact, they do state that it's suggested for mature readers, just in case. Just like the original magazine, just like the original heavy metal magazine was. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. Oh, and before I do, I am going to just showcase the trade paperback because it is the one that's going to be available everywhere. But I'm sure people want to know, wait a second, what about the hardcover? The hardcover has the exact same content, but it's just built a little bit different. Got to make sure I'm not... of course, showcasing some mature pages. It does feel like they're using the same kind of paper stock, like the same glossy paper stock, but because it is a hardcover, here, let's look at. People sometimes want to know about the binding, and this one is actually glued binding. So, not an eye, but it does lay over rather well, and there are some spread pages through here. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about this. It's going to be hard not to talk about every single one of these stories, by the way. They're all different and unique in their own way. So, I am a child of metal Hurlant, Denis Villeneuve, who's a huge fan of this. So this book is an anthology series, but it's really cool the way that it opens. It's this story by Jake Thomas and Jorge De Vos about this guy, these scavengers that are being hunted down by robots. One of these particular scavengers ends up going into this ruins and finds like this drawer that's made of like stone, like a stone drawer. And inside of it is this sword, almost like a Druillet looking piece of art right there. And he sits down and he starts reading one of the metal Hurlant pieces. That to me is awesome because you get immediately continued on page 264, so it's kind of like the opener and the bookend to this. It's an anthology series that has 272 pages. And when you look at the amount of talent in here, it's just, you know, for some people, it's going to be one story that's going to get you to get it. Like, no matter what, you're like, I don't care. That's awesome. It's an amazing experience. This was one of my favorite reads this year. And I have to say, I'm going to butcher all their names. Jean-Pierre Dionnet and Philippe Druillet and Moebius would be proud of the legacy that continues. Those are the gentlemen that originated the original Metal Hurlant in 1974. So we kick it off with the Druillet story, but sometimes there's a little bit of a publisher's note right here. Oh man, this is so interesting. This is by Fabrice Geiger, who is now running Metal Hurlant, but he's talking about how back in the second issue of the Metal Hurlant magazine, there was a joke right here by Moebius talking about these guys that are just carrying this robot, and the caption says it's the carburetor. That's all it says. Beneath the drawing right here, translated into English, is this joke. This is in 1975 again. This joke will only be funny around July of 2012. What's crazy is that Moebius passed away March of 2012. It's almost very cryptic and like, what? That's insane. So yes, we kick it off with this beautiful piece by Philippe Druillet, and it's just firing on all cylinders. Some of the stories, of course, are reprints here. You're going to see a couple of Moebius stories. You know, he's been gone since 2012, so they have been reprinted from something else. Some of them are in black and white, but mature themes for sure. Sometimes it's sexual, sometimes it's violence, but sometimes it's nudity. This is a piece right here by Jerry Frizen talking about his inspirations and how he was able to meet some of his heroes from the original Metal Hurlant. And this story is freaking nuts right there. Is Man Good? This is a beautiful story to me by Moebius. Where this guy's running away from these creatures and he decides to climb up this rock. And this is the kind of stuff that I love. Like, there's no dialogue. It's just silent. And then when they reach him, you know, they start tearing into him. And then something happens where he ends up getting spat out. The artwork varies, as I mentioned, some of it in black and white. This is about some insects that eat flesh right here. And again, different artists. And these two people that you think are robots are just letting their sexual desires drive them, and it goes in some bad ways. Let's just say that. Again, some artwork here that varies depending on, you know, who the artist is, who the creators are. And we have this, oh man, this is just such an powerful, absolutely powerful force of a story right here with some amazing Moebius artwork. Now this, of course, looks a little bit different than the artwork we saw earlier. Where is it? The one that was right. Oh, it's after the black and white. Right here. Right? It looks a lot different than that. The amount of detail. And it's also in black and white. But it is still Moebius at heart. There's a story in here that cracks me up. It's about philosophers. There's creepy stories. A lot of them have to do with sci-fi, of course. And again, the different colors. Lacuna here, I think it's beautiful. This was the one that has that manga flair. This is by Yuri Campos. I'm not really familiar with Yuri Campos. This Johto story to me is awesome. It's a philosopher's war. These philosophers are just having an argument, and they decide to have a pissing contest. And that's how they settle. That's how they settle the argument. It's so stupid. But it works. This is a Mad Fraction story and artwork by Afif Khaled. Each one of these just a little bit different than the other. Some of them a little bit more sexual. Some of them a little bit more graphic. The details, like, it's just insane to me how the art in here just varies and how some of these people are just so good and talented. I really like this one too. This is by Yang Whalen. And this story is trippy, the one before this one, the black and white one. But this is about aliens. They find some alien bodies and they look dead, and then these little eggs are laid. It's this type of stories in here. And out of these little eggs are like these machines that open up gates to perhaps another world. And then alien machinery comes out and it takes the aliens back to their world and it lays eggs. And then the security guard opens up the eggs. This one is so... Okay, I promised I wouldn't talk about every story. But, like, you find dark stories like this, where this family of bunnies are just about to have a stew, some dinner. Somebody's at the door. I guess the dad bunny goes and opens it and gets blasted. The grandpa bunny, the mom bunny, and the kid bunny all run away, but they all each end up meeting their doom somehow. And then somebody, a taxidermist, just puts... Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to laugh. But just the way that he just puts them here like they're having stew is so dark, because that's all they were doing, minding their own business, having a stew. But this guy just went out of his way to kill them. It's dark, but I don't know why. It made me laugh. But there's articles in here. There are forwards talking about, how much the magazine meant to them. And to me, and we're going to go back a little bit because I wanted to talk about the ending here, and it kind of wraps up rather well. I love the way that it just wraps up, right? We have that bookend. These are all the wonderful backers that did their first subscription, and man, there's a lot of you. Again, it's the same content as that of the hardcover, right? The exact same content. So let's actually go back. Okay, I wanted to come back here to the Red Planet Tomatoes by James Stokoe and then show this off. So I talked a little bit earlier about how there's a heavy metal magazine here in America. It was kind of like our Metal Hurlant. And it's different, though, because this really has that almost like a European style of, like, publication style, if you will. The content is so different and just varies. And then, of course, even in the way that it's laid out is different than the Heavy Metal magazine. And I find it interesting that Heavy Metal also did a Kickstarter and started their magazine over again here in America. This was amazing. This was such an amazing and wonderful read. I cannot recommend this highly enough to people. The trade paperback version has the same type of binding that the hardcover did. It's glued binding. But this, sorry, I forgot I had the autofocus off. It's glued binding. But this one here, again, is $29.99. And the splash pages and spread pages look beautiful through here. This, if you've never read any European comic and you've seen me talk about them, and you're okay with, the mature themes that comes to with them, and a lot of the sexual content that's in here, definitely check this out, because this will give you a small taste to the beauty of European comics. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing the book, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcon at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and page count, and of course the differences in between the hardcover, that was the Kickstarter, and the retail copy here. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Smash that like button on the way out, and let me know if you hope they continue this project with a second volume and more of an anthology series. And if you have any fond memories of metal Hurlant, or of course heavy metal here in America. But that's it, everybody. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.